This session leading us up till 4 o'clock. The final session of the day is going to be the marketing shit. This session here up to the coffee break is going to cover therapy. Are you thinking, hang on, there's only an hour and a half. Going to cover therapy in an hour and a half? But yeah, quite frankly, because you've already learned yesterday all of the techniques, ploys, psychological tactics, tricks, cons, call them what you will, that I personally use even in a hypnotherapy context, with the exception of one which we'll cover later. All the same things apply about your props, your costume, your office looking right, your advertising, which comes in with the marketing section later, to build up the belief and expectancy. Suggestibility tests are used, which we refer to, but I'm not going to demonstrate them when I refer to them in a moment, because we've already done that. So, a few things I'm going to cover before we get to complete mind therapy, which is one of the main things that I refer to in the sales letter, which is nothing more than a fancy name I've given to a little technique nicked from here, one from there, modelled from here, one from there, and one from there, put together. Call it complete mind therapy. If anyone says, what's complete mind therapy? Well, it's a complete combination of a bit of NLP, a bit of hypnosis, a bit of so-called psychotherapy, a bit of this shit over here. So we've got the complete package, and it's got a nicer sounding name for marketing purposes, complete mind therapy. It gives the impression when it's read by the punter that this is a complete package. It's going to sort everything, and it also avoids the potential off-putting that some people get by looking hypnotherapist. Well, I'm sure they could help me, but I'm a bit scared of going along because it doesn't make any reference to hypnosis. It's just complete mind therapy. It's mind therapy. They can make that all they want. If they want to think you're a hypnotist, fine. Then they'll come along thinking you're a hypnotist. And if they come along and they say that when you ask them the initial questions, when you say, what do you think I need to do to you today to help you? If they say, well I want you to hypnotise me, then you know that they think you're a hypnotist, so you take that approach. If they turn around and say, well, what I think you need to do is talk to me and help me resolve my issues, then you basically just talk to them and use normal, everyday, common sense logic. And at the end of it all, whatever way you put it forward to them, you give them the tape, and they've got to listen to it once every other day for 28 days. So they've got to put the commitment in, which I covered yesterday, the reasoning behind that. So loads of different names come up in therapy, loads of different techniques for different things. And one that came out a few years ago, a wonderful programme called Your Life in Their Hands, which was broadcast on the BBC. Now, I understand if you contact the BBC and actually say, I want the Your Life in Their Hands programme that featured Dr. Angel Escudero from Valencia in Spain, demonstrating his technique of no easy therapy for pain control, that they will sell you a VHS copy. I don't know what the standard BBC fee is at the moment, but a number of years back when I got a copy, it was about 27 quid they charged me for running it off, going to the library, finding it, so you can actually see him doing it. Now basically, no easy therapy, Dr. Angel Escudero, the way he explains it is that it's the vasovagal response, and that more psychobabble, which allegedly means that when you use the technique of no easy therapy, which we'll come to in a few moments' time, that the vasovagal response, which is the speed at which the pain transmitters in your body travel, is knocked out by the speed of the not being in pain transmitters, which go faster, so therefore it's got there before you can be in pain, so therefore you're never in pain. And this kind of bullshit. Bits of it that do actually make sense and are believable to me is that he then does give away, when you watch the programme, this is, and just for the point of camera, this is my own personal conclusions based on the Your Life in Their Hands programme, which I've then gone on and used myself and found to be effective. I'm not actually saying this is how Dr. Angel Escudero does it himself, but it's the only logical conclusion I could come to from the information they give in the programme, which is quite a lot of. He says that, it's all based on the fight or flight syndrome. So when you get scared about something or a really stressful situation, but especially when you've got real fear, fight or flight, you've either got to confront it there and then or avoid it, run away. That's true. We've all had situations in life where we've thought, do we deal with it now or do we try and avoid it? And he points out that if you're really scared and the fight and flight syndrome kicks in, that your mouth will get dry. Yeah, when you're scared, your whole body starts working faster and your mouth gets dry. And his logic, therefore, is that when you are relaxed, you haven't got a dry mouth. When you're feeling good, so you can have saliva. So you can actually produce saliva. And that's the key to it. He gets his patients, and he actually does operations using noisy therapy as the method of not feeling any pain as opposed to an anaesthetic. But he gets his patients who've got pain problems, arthritis and stuff, and conditions them, obviously, which we'll come to in a minute. But the idea is that as long as they can get saliva on the tip of their tongue, and they get it on the tip of the tongue and stick the tongue out and then say to themselves, my, whatever area of the body that they have the pain in, is now completely anaesthetised 3 times, or an affirmation, that because they've got saliva in their mouth, which physiologically means that they are relaxed, that is, well, he doesn't call it an indirect trance state. He actually says it's the vasovagal response kicking in. Now, there's some that would say, well, that's nothing more than a fixation of attention, okay? So therefore, fixation of attention on the idea of producing the saliva is so-called hypnosis. But then he goes forward, especially for the people who are having operations and stuff, and conditions them further. Because he does the hypodermic through the back of the hand routine on them. And gets them to get saliva on the tip of the tongue and go, the back of my hand, and say it 3 times, and it does sound as daft as that. Then he sticks the hypodermic through exactly the way that I explained earlier, goes, look at that. And it's like, wow, the wow factor. So that they're then really conditioned to the idea that being able to, just produce this saliva and say this is now completely anaesthetised, will anaesthetise that area of the body. So there's real conditioning, okay? And, yes, seriously. And then he actually slices them open for operations, saying at all times going to keep getting saliva on the tip of the tongue. And you know what? These people were shown wide awake, having the operations done, having bone chiselled out of the leg, and they swore blind that they didn't feel a single bit of pain because the vasovagal response had kicked in with the saliva, the fixation of attention, the conditioning with the lovely hypodermic through the back of the hand trick. So hence, whether it's pain control, if it's the pain control people, you leave them to go home and say, every time you feel as though you might be in a bit of pain or discomfort, get the saliva on the tip of your tongue and say the affirmation 3 times about the area you're in. And if you're in any doubt, just remember the time you had the needle through the back of your hand, which means that this will work for you. Which is great. But what a lot of people don't realise, they go, well, it must be really powerful if he's slicing them open and he's showing them wide awake. What has been proven? But there again, I'm now going to say, scientifically this has been proven in a paper. There's also numerous papers saying what I'm about to say is complete and utter bullshit. But I happen just to go with the opinion that the papers that explain what I'm about to say are the ones that I choose to believe in. And that is that they say that the only thing that is, if you like, so-called painful about being cut with a scalpel is if you think it's going to be painful. The moment it's cut, it's the actual incision on the outside of the skin. The inside has hardly got any pain receptors or whatever. Now, if you look at the stuff, which Escudero actually says on the programme, I'm basically quoting him here and Your Life in Their Hands, he then shows you video footage of studies they've done abroad where they've just used, what's it called, when they're not out of it, but local anaesthetic, isn't it? Yeah? So they've anaesthetised the skin so they don't feel the cut, but they're not out of it, and they've been fiddling around inside and saying, look, can you feel pain? And people just no trance, no techniques being used, they just can't feel inside. But they would have feared and felt the cut. So all he's got to overcome, this is his philosophy, is get them conditioned to a level where they believe that the saliva on the tongue is going to cause them no discomfort, and he refers to it as discomfort, no discomfort as opposed to mentioning the word pain, and he says that's a positive suggestion, although he said there's no form of trance involved, which is why I kind of agree with it. And all he's done, quite simply, is conditioned them, and that's a technique that I found useful for people who've got arthritis and stuff. Very quick, very simple. You can tell them how to do it over the phone. So if you accept credit cards, you can take the money for the fee for your session over the telephone via credit card. Then teach them how to do it over the phone. Now you can't do the needle through the hand lock on them over the phone, obviously. However, you don't need to if it's just for pain control, because you give them all the blurb, the psychobabble, the fight and flight, and it all sounds very logical, and you get them to get saliva on the tongue and say stuff, and then you get them to, wherever they are, take out the left arm, and just pull the hair gently on the arm and say, you can feel that, can't you? You can feel that pain at the other end of the phone. You're prompting them to say, yes. And then you get them, you say, keep hold of the hairs, so they've already got hold of the hairs, and you say, keep pulling them up. Well, it's the same as pulling the skin up on the back of the hand. After a few seconds, the so-called pain or discomfort disappears. It's no longer discomfort, it's like, so what? And then you say, get the saliva. By this time you said, get the saliva, say, my left arm's completely anaesthetised. And you say, oh, by the way, now you said that, can you feel that discomfort you had before in your left arm where you're pulling the hairs? No. Which means that when you do this yourself, it's going to be alright. Distraction of the mind to take the mind off the pain. You can't think about two things at once. Therefore, they're not thinking of the pain, so they don't feel in pain. So you can actually take money off them over the phone. Alright, suggestion therapy. The conventional, I'm a hypnotist, you're going to go into trance, I'm going to say whatever to you, and you're going to come out of it and you're going to be fine. I advise everybody not to call themselves a hypnotherapist, because when you break the word down, it reads hypno the rapist. Psychotherapist, well, bloody hell, that reads psycho the rapist. That's even bloody worse. But I know I made that and it sounds like a joking point, but I'm actually being serious. The word does read like that. And I didn't notice that myself. It was a member of the public who looked at my business card a number of years ago and said, ooh, hypno the rapist. I said, what are you on about? Looked at it, I thought, oh shit, yeah it does. It spells hypno the rapist. That's not a very good image to be portraying, is it? Especially not when newspapers have published stories about hypno the rapists taking advantage of their clients, okay? It brings back memories of that. No wonder people are a little bit concerned about going to see a hypnotherapist sometime. It's not just the idea of what stage hypnotists are supposed to have done, it's the fucking way they're marketing themselves. Hypnotic consultant. Consultant sounds like a medical term. It also sounds very professional and business-like for business seminars and for sports psychology and stuff like that. It's got a far higher psychological sales prestige than the word hypnotherapist, and it certainly doesn't spell what's it spelled? Hypnotic consultant. Well, actually that's very close to the truth. A hypno con. So you're being truthful in your advertising, but it also psychologically sounds much better because it sounds almost medical. I know we're not legally allowed to claim that we have any form of medical expertise, but you can legally use the word consultant, and people naturally perceive it as meaning something medical, therefore they attach more value to you and your skills. And if they're about attaching value to you and your skills, therefore they believe in you more. Which goes back to everything I said yesterday, okay, about belief and expectancy and it all being a big bloody contrary. Psychotherapy, let's have the explanation of that. Chad Vera, who's founded the Samaritans, okay, which started off in a church, his catchphrase, what he gave people advice was, don't just do something, sit and listen. Translated, what he was saying is, on a so-called psychotherapy level, you don't need to do fuck all except take the money off them, get them in the office, say, tell me what's your issues. Keep quiet. The more you keep quiet, the more they will talk. And the sad part is, a lot of people do believe, and that's the key thing, a lot of people do believe that a problem shared is a problem halved. Especially when they've attached value by paying money for your consultancy services. That's all you ever need to know about psychotherapy. It's bullshit. Disassociation and all these techniques, bullshit. All they need to do is talk and get it off the chest. And then you'll get people that keep, they get dependent on you. Great. More money. Let's get it like it is in America, where everyone's got a personal hypnotic consultant, a personal therapist. The hypnotherapists in England will earn the same kind of money as the guys in the States. Shitloads. People are doing it all wrong. You can be too ethical in this business and the therapy side. At the end of the day, if people come and believe what you're doing, those that don't believe won't come anyway. The odd person, well, there's always one slips through the net. But hey, whatever you do, however well you do it, anyone who says there's a technique that works 100% correctly, 100% of the time is talking through their ass. There is always going to be a situation that occurs in life that nobody ever thought of, nobody's ever encountered, and what the hell, you just do your best, you ad-lib like you would do if you were on stage. Psychotherapy in a nutshell. You get paid for being bored by people. You get paid for having to listen to all their shit. And as for helping them, well, you tell them what they want to hear. It's as simple as that. They start there, do you think I was right doing that? Well, if you felt it was beneficial for you, then that's brilliant. Always put it in that context, Lord, because then you can never be accused of having encouraged them to do something. If it's a case of, you're throwing it back at them, you're totally non-committal, they're doing all the work. It's as simple as that. Fast phobia cure. Which NLP covers, well, there's various different approaches, but fast phobia cure, pain and pleasure model. Oh, wonderful. So everyone associates the pain and pleasure model with the fast phobia cure, because that's what it got known for. All hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, call it what you will, is pain and pleasure. It's as simple as that. Pain and pleasure. If somebody is a smoker, they are currently getting some form, or did at some time get some form of pleasure from smoking. They may no longer get that same pleasure, but it's now habit. And it's painful for them at that time to stop smoking, otherwise they wouldn't be happy to pay whatever you're going to charge them to stop them. Because they've decided, I can't stop myself, it's pain. I feel like I need a fag, I'm not going through this flipping withdrawal feelings. Pain and pleasure. And all you do, and I'm going to refer you here to Timothy Leary's neural wiring diagrams manual, which he published when he was smacked out of his head on cocaine and heroin and various other drugs, but it is a wonderful book. Everything is pain and pleasure, because if you can make it, plant a seed in their mind, that they capture that image in the mind, you paint that picture with your words, and the tree starts to grow and become really strong, so that it becomes pleasurable not to smoke, and it becomes painful to continue smoking, then effectively you rewire the plug. You change where the current pain and pleasure are wired up, you took the wire out, rewired it, so fuck symptom substitution, It ain't gonna happen. One or two people will end up ringing you and saying, I'm now biting my nails instead. These are the kind of people who need to then be told, well, I think actually there's more of a problem here. What you need to do, there's an underlying issue. Come and let's talk about your life. And you start charging them and become their personal shrink and earn some serious money. That's how to get shitloads of clients. But we'll be covering far more techniques later. 3D Mind, wonderful idea. Absolutely wonderful, cracking concept by a guy called Tom Vizzini in the USA. He has got a website on the internet. He sells a wonderful manual, books and stuff. If you like the idea of the concept, I recommend you get his stuff, because I'm only going to, if you like, blow apart what he's selling, but it's still worth getting. And the idea of this is that you don't put them in any so-called trance, you don't say they're going to sleep. So for the clients who say, I'm scared of the idea of being hypnotised, alright, you could turn around and say, well, just do a bit of relaxation therapy, call it something else. Or you could say, well, that's fine, your eyes will stay open all the time, because then you'll know you're not hypnotised, won't you? You'll know we're not doing anything funky. And they'll think, yeah, logical, sounds logical. And essentially the bottom line is you hold your hand out in front of them and you say, keep your eyes on me hand at all times. Because I want to ask you what your problem is. And you ask them what it is. So for example, I'll tell you the story of the agoraphobic I treated earlier in the year, without mentioning his name. But he said, well, I can only go to the front door, and I can step just outside to get my milk bottles, but I haven't gone anywhere further than that for like 3-4 years. The doctor has to come and see me here when I'm ill, someone doing my shopping and all that stuff. But he was scared of the idea of going into so-called trance. I said, well, try something. Keep staring at my hand. And you get them staring at the hand. It may as well have been the lights, but this is the idea. If you start saying stare at the light, they think, a lot of people, oh, that's what I've seen hypnotists do on TV. So it's stare at the hand, because they don't think, oh, any form of disorientation or anything like that coming in. And you're moving around a bit in front of them as you're doing it, so to keep watching your hand all the time, they've got to follow your hand around. So essentially you're kind of getting that same thing as the finger stare induction. You're knackering their eyes up a bit. But the intention here isn't to get them to close their eyes, it's just to make them feel there's something weird going on here, so they come to believe therefore something beneficial is taking place. So take his example. I said, okay, what do you feel like if you tried to go further than the front door? So what's that feeling about? It's kind of, my chest starts kind of getting really tight here, and it feels like it's coming up, and I just can't. I feel like I'm going to have a panic attack, so I don't want that to happen, so I go back inside. I said, so when you come back inside, you feel okay? He said, oh yeah, I'm fine in here. I said, right, so when did all this start? And all the time you keep making sure they're staring at your hand. He said, keep staring at the hand, you know. So when did this problem that we're calling agoraphobia, which some people are saying is disassociation, okay, this problem that we're calling agoraphobia, which I'll place in my hand right here, so you're almost suggesting the problem's in your hand now, not in them. There's a problem called agoraphobia. Doesn't matter what the problem is, you'd follow this kind of similar model, whatever. This problem here called agoraphobia, when did it start affecting your life? When did it become a problem to you? You keep saying, well, when do you feel it became an issue? And his answer was something along the lines of, well, my job, I've been made redundant, I split up with my wife, a couple of relatives. There was a whole lot of heavy shit, emotional stuff that would make anyone upset, happened in a very short period of time. And the place where he felt safe, warm, secure was at home with his dog. And it became, therefore, pleasurable for him to be where he felt safe. Because we all like to feel safe. He just took it to a bit of an extreme. Became painful, the idea of going anywhere away from that. So all we need to do is to be able to rewire it so it's pleasurable for him to go out, painful for him to stay at home, unless it's for the obvious things like eating, relaxing, going to sleep. So we need to get something, some kind of leverage we can put into his mind that's going to make him think automatically, right, right, yes, I'm going to leave the house. But that is going to be more pleasurable to him than the pleasure he's currently getting by avoiding facing up to stuff. So we will continue to him, okay, so what do you feel in yourself when this problem you've got here, and you actually touch him, so he said, as you're looking at your hand, about here was your chest, wasn't it? Just about here, where you said you felt those feelings. I'll tell you what, let's take those feelings away as we're talking about it and place them here in the hand. With that problem you call agoraphobia, we'll take those feelings there that you call the onset of a panic attack. We'll take them away from you. How do you feel right now on a scale of 1 to 10? Doesn't matter what number they say, but let's say they say a 7, an 8, or even a 9, even a 10. It doesn't matter what number. You say, right, what I need to know now is what do you feel that needs to go into this mix of things to make you feel positive and certain, future pacing, some people would call this. Some would say I'm actually spatial anchoring them by moving my hand around, but I don't give a shit where I'm moving my hand, because in spatial anchoring they'd say positive should be over here, negatives there. I couldn't care less as long as he's looking at it. What do you feel needs to go into that mix to make you positive and certain that you can move forward in your life and do what you want? He said, well, I need the certainty that I wasn't going to feel like I was about to have a panic attack. I said, it's all right, I brought some certainty with me. Here, we'll put that into the mix. What else do you think you need? He said, well, a bit of confidence to try it for the first time. Okay, well, hang on, I've got some somewhere. And actually, if it's mime as though you're looking for it, while they're still looking at like it's not just make-believe, you've actually got something. We'll put a bit of confidence in there. And what else do you think you need? Because generally there's a few things you need. So, well, certainty, confidence, and I don't think anything else. I said, well, I'll tell you what, how's about knowing for certain, which is the certainty we've put in there, and having the confidence to try it for the first time. But also, how's about feeling really good about getting on with your life and leaving the past behind? I said, what name should we give that? And you let them give it a name. You don't give it a name. So if they say, oh, letting go, releasing the past, don't matter what they say. So let's just say he said releasing the past. Brilliant. Okay, well what I want to do is I just want to take from that area where, you know, where you used to feel future pacing again, used to feel as though you were about to have a panic attack. Let's take it all away so that now you can be certain and confident and look forward to living your life, because there's no fear there of this not working. Now as I bring it towards you, on a scale of 1 to 10, I want you to tell me how low it's gone down to when you physically bringing your hand down. So you're basically saying it's going to be lower. And as you move in towards them, they'll go. At some point, eventually, because you've said to them, I just want you to tell me when to stop, when it's going to become painful, which is a suggestion at some point it will become painful. So at some point they go, everyone's different, they might say it here, oh, don't come any closer to me. They might leave it till you're right touching them. This is where you ad-lib your response. But we'll say they said stop there, you go, right, that's fine. But if I pull it back a bit, now on a scale of 1 to 10, how does it feel? So obviously they're going to say a lower number because it's further away from them, which is convincing them that removing these things from the equation will make them feel right about what is the future. So you say, we've got a lot of nasty shit in here, we need to get rid of some of it. So I don't think I need to leave you with these nasty things. You don't want the uncertainty anymore, do you? So I'll take that home with me and file it at home. And I don't think you need the lack of confidence, and I don't think you need the, those conditioned feelings you've got, you know, where you feel like you might have a panic attack. We'll take them home with me, because you don't need them. What we've got left in here, it's all good stuff, and you actually look, you're acting as though there's physically something in your hand. What massive placebo, it's almost bordering on the way, you know, ritual magic works. You go, we've only got good stuff here, confidence. And then your voice goes more upbeat. Confidence, yeah, you're feeling really good about what's going to happen in the future. Shit up, nice one. And we've got certainty there. Certainty, we've got that as well. And we've got no fear whatsoever. You're a no limits person. That's brilliant. You know, I bet that we're probably very close to having this problem solved. Again, implying that it will be solved. Just tell me how low it's actually gone down to now as I'm moving towards you, which is implying it's going to be lower again. So as you bring it in, and this time you've got a big smile on your face instead of looking worried and concerned, which is non-verbal suggestion. You go, and they'll let you get in closer. It may not be all the way, but they'll let you get in closer, which is all that matters. You then ad-lib your response to that. So we're nearly there now, but there's something's missing. If they let you get all the way to touching them, and they say that it's gone down to a flipping 0 or 1, you can finish your session then, with the ending bit coming up, by just saying, that's brilliant, that's a normal everyday level for this type of thing, you're going to be able to get on with your life, which again is kind of giving them the suggestion future pacing. But if you need to add something else to the mix, you say it's like a recipe pot, what do you think's missing that we need to put in there to take it down to 0 or 1, an acceptable level so you can get on with your life? Whatever the hell they come up with, it's right for them. So whatever they say, you go, right, where is he? Hang on, I'll tell you what, just keep your eyes on my hand at all times, and you go over to your coat that you've left somewhere else, and that's where it is. So you're making a real pantomime of, I wonder where I've stuck that final thing, whatever they call it. So we'll put that in the mix. That's brilliant. Hey, that's feeling really good now. Bring that towards you on a scale of 1 to 10. And they've already pretty much said that when that goes in, that is all they need to go to a 0. So without making themselves look a dick, without even realising it, they're going to say, oh, well, now we're at a 0, because you took them down the garden path several times. If you put it in the context of like doing the stage shows. Which point you say, well, I need to leave this really good stuff with you. I'm going to take all the bad stuff away. But I need to leave the good stuff with you. So fortunately, I've got my surgeon's knife here somewhere. It doesn't hurt at all. And you literally mind taking a knife. Now, this is ever so slightly different than the way Tom Vizzini does it. It's just the way I do it. That's why I say, if you want to go any more into this gay stuff. But I say to them, can I just take your hand? Which do you want, left or right? Like they made the decision, so they feel in control. And I mime cutting the thumb, mime it, as long as a knife, and mime cutting the tip of the finger. I said, right, before we go, I'm going to roll this. What shape do you want all these good things to be? So all the time you're keeping the mind on, what the friggin' hell's going on? So in effect, you can fixate in the mind on one thing only, and it's all positives, positives, removing the negatives, instilling positives. What shape do you want it to be? So if they say a ball, you mind rolling it. If they say a square, you mind, if they say a prism or, a pyramid, you mind whatever. And then you go, brilliant, there it is. And what colour do you want it to be? You mind getting some paint. That's good. Then you mind sawing it in half. And you go up to them and you say, now look at your hand, because we're going to take half there. I'll rub it into the wound there. That's good, that's perfect. All that good stuff getting into your body. Half there on your finger. That's good. Now I want you to think of a time in your life where you felt wonderful. Special place stuff, okay? Where you felt on top of the world, nothing could stop you. If you do, just press those two wounds together. We're going to have to solve them up in a minute, but I just want you to press them together and notice how good that feels as you're thinking in your mind of that time in your life. Which of course it will, because if they conjure up that mental image in the mind, they wrap the mind around the idea, it makes them feel good, but then you're anchoring them, as some people will call it, to the finger and thumb thing, the ring of confidence, Colgate ring of confidence. So you say, that's brilliant. If I leave that with you, and you can feel like that, each and every time that you would have ever encountered a situation where in the past, you would have once had a problem, which again, people would say is future pacing, because you're saying, in the past when you once had a problem, that'd be really good, wouldn't it? To feel like that now, every time in the future. And obviously, then go, yeah. So you mind getting a needle and thread, sewing the thumb up, sewing the finger up. Say, good, that can never leave you now. It's within you forever. It'll grow stronger as it goes around your body as the days go by. And all you need to do, if ever you feel any uncertainty at all, just a tiny little bit, is use your ring of confidence. And all those positive feelings, and then you're getting upbeat, up in there, all those positive feelings, the certainty, the confidence, the pleasure of it all, being able to go out and do what you want to do, take your son to football and all that. Again, your future pacing. And then all you're left to do, quite frankly, is you say to him, right, I want you to imagine now, just before I go, I'm going to take, where is it? Where did I put it? This agoraphobia thing. That stupid, silly thing that used to be a problem. I'll just put it on my hand. You say, don't use your ring of confidence yet, but as I bring this towards you, notice how painful it is. But the moment you want me to stop, I'll stop. See, they're going to conjure up the mental image of when it was a problem. So at some point they say, stop. You go, you definitely don't want me to leave you with that, do you? No, I don't. Which is them convincing themselves that you can take it away with you. You say, right, I'll take it away. As I pull it away, will you feel better? I tell you what, let's try one more thing. Make your ring of confidence. Because I just want to show you, it's not a problem now. It's not a problem. Direct suggestion. So you get to make the ring of confidence. You go, notice how good that feels now with your ring of confidence. It's not a problem whatsoever. And if in the very rare occasion which has happened once or twice, as you're bringing it towards them, when it's supposed to be not a problem anymore, they go, well actually, you'll have to stop about there. Then you go back and you say, right, and you basically ask them what is missing from the mix. It could be that you could do this as quickly as a space of 2 minutes. It could take you 30 minutes. I personally actually ended up spending 40 minutes with this agoraphobic, who's now going on holiday emailing me, telling me how wonderful I am, thinks I'm God, and was giving me a wonderful testimonial from my website. Fixation of attention on one point, something that seems very ritualistic, so therefore it's important for a reason, and that reason obviously logically is to help them. Ask them what you need to do to help them. Get them to give it the names they feel important involved. The painting a picture with the mind, wrapping the mind round in the seed grows. Miming, pantomiming, so it makes it almost so believable. They get drawn into like this, what some people would call trance, some would call belief state, delusion. Doesn't matter what you call it. At the end of the day, you just use trick after trick after trick after trick, albeit in a positive way, to get them to a point where they say, no, I don't want that left with me. And the moment they say, no, I don't want that left with me, they're effectively saying to themselves that you're capable of taking it away with you. And if they believe you're capable of taking it away with you, then that is what you appear to do. But so you look credible, you say it's not very good if we remove something from your life without putting the positive back in. You get them to name what it is they believe they need to be able to overcome the problem. You've apparently put that back in the mix and took the shit out which you're taking home with you. And then you've apparently put it into the body and you've done the classic so-called anchoring thing. It's all a big pantomime, which any effective therapy session of any description, by any name, from any discipline, even if it's conventional medicine, NHS even, any that's actually effective therapy, the majority of the time, because there's never an all the time, the majority of the time, seems important, seems like there's a lot of ritual to it, and it's one big placebo. But the key there being that they give you, they are essentially doing all the work.
That's a brilliant technique, and I can see how that would work with agoraphobia, Jonathan. How would it work if it was, say, a snake? Forgive me if I'm not understanding this correctly.
Right, whatever the problem, the fear of snakes. Yeah, okay.
If you're bringing that towards them, that's going to be, like, I can see the disassociation in the agoraphobia on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're really terrified of, say, a big snake and you've got it in their hand...
Right, but let's remember here that this is all purely imaginary shit you've got in your hand. None of it exists. It's invisible, okay? Hence he called it 3D mind. Did Tom Vizini. Now, this is my take on his technique. This is the way I do it. So if you want to go into it in real depth, you really need to get his materials, because I'm not really in a position to be telling you the way he does it when he's selling stuff on. But the way I would do it is it doesn't matter what the problem is. At the end of the day, all you're asking the person is, what do you think I need to do to help you? What do I need to take away with you? Whatever stupid name they give it, you put in. You ask them what they feel you need to leave behind for them. Sometimes you have to egg them on a bit and say, do you think certainty would be good, and knowing that you won't be scared? You mind putting them in. Now when you start bringing this thing called fear of snakes, or whatever name they wanted to give it, even if they say it's called Cedric, you want to call it Cedric? Fine. This thing called Cedric that was once a problem in your life, because you're just giving it a tag, and people like to give things tags and labels. And that's as much as I really want to say on 3D mind, unless we've got any questions at the minute, because I want to move forward more onto complete mind therapy. Yeah?
It was only to say, I thought that was great. I thought you might be surprised to hear me say it.
Well, I am actually, darling. Thank you. Yes.
No, it's very, very good. But when at the beginning of that you said you were rewiring, what were you rewiring?
Now, I know the context you're asking that in, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I'm probably not going to give you the answer you want.
Sure you're not.
But in the context of what I'm saying, okay, Timothy Leary's concept, yeah, that's all it is at the end of the day. Any school of thought in therapy is just a concept. Now, the concept I personally go with is that everything's pain and pleasure. So for the moment it's become pleasurable for that person, we'll take the agoraphobic example, to stay indoors, painful to go out. What we're trying to do is reverse it so it becomes pleasurable in their mind to go out, painful not to. And by getting them to say, what shit should I take away with me? And they go, feeling bad about it, or whatever, or this feeling here, where does it start? And apparently taking it away, giving it a tag, which is, as you say, dissociation with this problem you once had, that thing called. Then you're putting in the good stuff, whatever name they want to give it, taking that home with you. So, which will become clearer with the CMT. So what you're saying to them is, the stuff that was painful, although you're not saying it this directly to them, but you're saying, all that painful shit is going with me. All this pleasurable, positive stuff that's going to enable you to go out and go and take your son playing football or whatever, is being left behind, and none of the shit's left behind, because I'm taking it all with me, so all the pain's gone. And as long as they attach their mind around that thought, that image, so that the seed can grow, then they will believe that now it's a much better idea to get on with the life, so therefore it's pleasurable to go out. And the first time they do, which there and then while I was there, the tester, where possible do a tester because it's the ultimate convincer to them. Not always practical with certain things, but where possible arrange for a total convincer. It's a case of, well, my taxi's coming out to take me to the train station, so shall I take you for a drink and go for a pint? He said, well, it might take a bit of a while until this starts working. I said, oh no, I've seen people far worse than you in the past. He's in you now, we've got rid of all the shit, I'm taking it with me, don't worry, I won't leave any of it behind. We got him to the front door. For a moment he looked as though he was about to panic, but then he started crying, which some would say was his moment of catharsis, when he realised that yes, I'm further than I've been for the past 2 years, I'm further, and he felt really good. So then, that is the total convincer, A, that it's worked, and B, that it's pleasurable to go outside now. So then, now he's outside in the wide open, that's pleasurable. He's automatically in his mind going to be saying to himself, well, hang on a minute, I don't need to stop it anymore, at the weekend I can go and to the X-Lines and pick up the son instead of him having to come down here with his mum, and we can go and see the football, embedding even more pleasure and making him feel painful, nasty things about the fact he spent so long staying at home. And you just put that obviously in the context of whichever problem it was you was treating. I hope in some manner that's answered your question.
That didn't answer it at all, but...
All right. Well, I thought it did. That's
I
a...
don't have any problem with that. I can see how it works. And, you know, and I know it works, and I know it's effective, and the way you described it was great. But what I was saying is, what have you changed in that person? And I suppose what you might say, and
What you would probably say is a belief system in the context of NLP. And I would say you've changed the belief system in the context of if they believe it works, which is a big placebo. But we make it a wonderfully more powerful placebo by all the pantomime and getting them involved and engaged in it. That bit closer to...
totally, but you,
All right.
I suppose you would call it conning them, and I wouldn't, that's all.
Yeah, that's it, and then we'll just agree to differ on that one, yeah, shall we? Shall we call it truths? We'll agree to differ on what we actually call it.
I don't think we've been disagreeing until now, apart from the terms and the slant.
Right, okay. Don't we, yeah.
Just to make things sound a bit better, right? When you spent that time with that chap, and you got into the door, you broke down crying as you walked out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have any feelings, or did you think, I'm a con man, and I'll have some more money off you?
I didn't think I'd get more money off him there and then.
Did you feel good?
My ego felt good. That I got him there and I'd been paid up front 500 quid plus travel expenses in my hotels, and I'd walked out, done my job, and he was going to tell everyone how wonderful I was because he'd be going out, going to pubs, doing everything he hadn't been doing for a while, and I get shitloads of work off it. So if you're saying, you know, what did I feel most best about, helping him, or the fact that I was going to get more money from it, then the fact I was going to get more money from it, but the only way I'm going to get more money from it is if I've helped the guy, and he goes away telling people how good I am.
Jonathan, there's
So it's hand in hand.
about that. We don't, you know, you haven't conned us about that.
It's
You felt good.
the cons. Yeah, felt good. What about the money? 500 quid in 30 minutes for sitting there with a cup of coffee talking crap. I felt wonderful. Yes, I did. Yeah. And that's my take on 3D Mind, which is created by Tom Vizzini, who has a website. He regularly has little postings up on alt.hypnotherapy and alt.nlp on the net. He does it quite a bit different in certain areas than I just displayed it, but the end result's basically the same. But if you want to kind of use that kind of technique, and you want to look into it more, I do recommend his stuff. It is well worth the money. It's only something daft, like you get loads of videos, you get loads of audios, you get a big package. It's not like one of these drip feed, bit by bit by bit. Everything he's ever published on it, you get it once, and it's something like about, you have to check, it's about $200, which again is about 150, 165 quid, thereabouts. But then you also get Tom Vizzini's signature on a piece of paper saying you license to call yourself a 3D mind therapist. Right, Meridian therapies. We're going to cover these things very briefly because I want to get on to CMT at the end of the day's marketing. Now, Meridian therapies, again, what I'm explaining here is a concept. The stuff you're taking away with you, one of the CD-ROMs has got on it manuals written by a guy called Tom Bolton. He was a great therapist from Liverpool. He wrote a book called Health, Happiness, Vitality and Hypnosis, or something that the Anglo-American book company sell. And on there it goes into TFT, thought field therapy, EFT, emotional freedom technique, and he almost comes to the same conclusion as I do, almost. He came up with his own name for it, so we didn't have to pay license fees to everybody or training fees or anything like that, and called it Freeway CER, which each and every one of you that's got the videos package and stuff is taken away with you the CD-ROM with all the practitioners and master practitioner manuals in for Freeway CER, and you've also taken away a diploma of authenticity signed by Tom Bolton and Beverly Anderson, the creators of the concept, allowing you, from a legal perspective, to use the name Freeway CER in your advertising materials and literature without having to pay any form of yearly license fee or anything like that. And Freeway CER stands for Fast Release Entrapped Emotions with a Yawn Change Energy Routine. which you kind of lay out like that on your advertising material. It sounds really good and funky and new age. And you say, you know, this leaves TFT, makes TFT and EFT a thing of the past when it comes to the marketing point of view. Now all the meridian points are laid out on very detailed diagrams in Tom and Bev's manual. Tom is a trained, proper masseur trained. He tells you where he's bad to touch, what can cause problems. Any martial artist, they don't know about things like DMAC, there's places to touch positive points, negative points, allegedly. We won't get into that debate. My conclusion is that at the end of the day, all meridian therapies, yes, meridians, they do work. Even when I get a headache, and there's me, there's going to be people now saying, well, hang on, he's just told us that he hypnotises himself and he doesn't even realise. Get a headache, thumb, corner between the thumb there, press, keep pressed on it as hard as you can so it hurts a little bit and headache goes away. Why? Well, when I've sat there thinking about it and been thinking, well, it's only because I'm fixating on the fact I'm really pressing on my hand, the headache stayed. But when I'm just like, I've got to do this and I've been focused on the fact, I'll keep pressing, but carry on what I'm doing. It's because it's a ritual. Now, I'm not saying there isn't some value to meridian therapies, because obviously massage is indirect meridian stimulation. That's why any ethical masseuse is trained in anatomy, because it can cause potential problems. What I am saying is, though, if you just stick to the areas of the body where we all naturally knock ourselves each day, although there is a set pattern, concept, and that to follow in the Freeway CER practitioner manuals that you take, exactly as Tom Moulton and Bev designed it to be followed, which is very similar to TFT and EFT, and there's also manuals on there about EFT and TFT. Although all that stuff's in there, what I'm saying to you is, yes, please do follow it the way they're teaching it in their manuals, if you're going to get them tapping all over the self. Because meridians can potentially cause problems. So, study it properly. If you're going to get them tapping all over the place, which in theory you're supposed to do depending on what problem it is they present. But if you just want to use the fancy name, Freeway CER, or whatever name you want to give your thing, a fast release, trapped emotions with a yawn, change energy routine, and use it for like treating people over the telephone, then the point that they've rung you and paid the money brings in the belief, step one. Step two, they've read your advertising materials and know that over the phone you're going to give them the individually personalised session over the phone. It's different for everyone depending on what the problem is. That's the perception, the belief that you built up before they even ring you. Get the money off them credit card, be paid, another belief factor. Quite frankly, if you say to them on the end of the phone, hold it in one hand, so right, which hand have you got the phone in? Or the right hand, okay, what I want you to do then is tap your right wrist 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Now just do the bottom of your chin, do the lower neck area, top of your eyebrow, the middle thing, now home happy birthday. And you're going to do all this manner of crap, make it up as you go along for about 5 minutes. And quite frankly, if your advertising material was worded right that they're responding to in the first place, their moments of anxiety before they went on stage, there's guys out there that only deal with celebrity clients who ring them just before they go on stage to say, right, where do I need to tap today? Because I'm feeling a bit anxious before I go on stage. And they'll go, oh right, today you need to tap. Tell them over the phone. And all it is pure utter bullshit. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Freeway CER, EFT or TFT is complete and utter bullshit. If you follow the model they give, then you will be doing some positive, worthwhile meridian stimulation. What I'm saying is I can't personally be asked when people ring me and want some out there and then, actually thinking about or looking at a diagram that, for this particular problem, the best area meridian would be kind of down here under the lower rib cage or whatever. When at the end of the day, if I get them tapping points on the wrist and the face, singing happy birthday, having a bit of a yawn, and doing some other bullshit for 5 minutes and they paid the money, it will have exactly the same response. But if you want to follow it, the meridian route, then please do. You've got all the materials to learn it the way it was intended by its creators. But quite frankly, you don't need to, because at the end of the day, if you tell a client this is the right order to tap themselves, even if they know about meridian therapies and say to you, well, hang on a minute, I went to a guy who did EFT and he said I should tap these points. You say, well, Freeway CEI, it says on the brochure it makes TFT and EFT a thing of the past. We found different things. Which effectively saying to them, look, that's why you run in. When you get the money off them, they believe it. It's as simple as that, and that is the way I use meridian therapies, only ever over the phone. Because if somebody is face-to-face with me, then I get far more pleasure of sending them off to sleep.
Can I say, John, quickly, if everybody, just honestly, if everyone's going to bother learning Freeway, and at the same time on your manuals is EFT and TFT, just remember this, if you bother to learn any of them, especially what I know about EFT, don't know anything about TFT, if you bother learning them and you then want to test yourself on the placebo, try working with somebody that doesn't even know you're working with them, you'll never have to bullshit them, you'll never have to just take their money off them just for the sake of it, you'll get a lot more out of it yourself. Again, it's a case of saying, well, what do you want to get out of it? But by the time you've read through Freeway, EFT and CFT, you'll really enjoy it. Good job, too.
That's all valuable, very valuable point. I'd agree with that if you want to take the time, and it's not something you can just read once and do. If you're going to do it the way that the creators intended, if you're going to do it properly. But personally, I can get the same results in the context that I use it over the phone with people who do know they're intentionally contacting me to part with money, belief in, as doing it so-called proper way would. I agree with you that in an indirect manner, I know certain things, I've read it all and everyone else can. But you know, that isn't the area that, if you want to help people, fine, but that isn't really a big area helping them indirectly where you're going to make loads of money, because they need to know you're helping them to take the cash off them. And, you know.
Well, they need convincing, and they need convincing time and time again. It just depends on whether you're going to cure the problem, doesn't it? Or help them cure their own problem, or they're going to be ringing you up every time they go on stage.
Well, most of the celebrity mind therapists I know that use meridian therapies do it in such a way that before every time that celebrity is going to go on stage, they give them a call and they pay a monthly retainer fee to them, so that they feel good just before they go on stage.
As long as you feel good about it.
I do, yeah. But I feel very good about it, yeah. Each to their own, but yeah, all the stuff there, if you want to go about it, the conventional manner, so to speak. Okay, complete mind therapy. Are we going to get this done before tea break? Yeah, just about. Because most of the concepts and strategies that I use you already know. So, this idiot's guide to taking people's money off them in the framework of calling it hypnosis, complete mind therapy, whatever you want to call it. I call it complete mind therapy because it's got that therapy word, which is almost medical. Complete, which implies there's nothing missing. Mind, that obviously lets them know it's all going to be done with the mind, no pills, potions or anything like that. Now we'll cover marketing later, so where it says advertise for the clients, well that's the last session of the day. So that marketing and how to get clients will be covered after the tea break. Because obviously you need the clients before you've got anybody to teach. Treat even. Freudian slip there. Client shows up. As soon as they show up, get the fee off them. As I said yesterday, I used, a very cheesy line. Gypsy fortune teller said, cross my palm with silver, so can you just cross my palm with 250 quid please, and we'll get it out of the way, because nobody likes talking about money. Get the cash off them. They're then 90% of the way to having solved the problem anyway, if not further, because they read your advertising stuff. Reply to the advert, seen your brochure, but we'll cover why it's almost like a stage show the way I do it in the last part of the day, because when they ring, before they get a chance to come to see me, they send brochures out and audio tapes and all the shit like that, which I'll cover later, which does the session practically for me before I even get them in my office. But it's done in such a manner that when they listen to the free audio tape they get given, it brings them to the buying decision of parting with the cash, ringing up, booking the session. When they then come and part with their cash, they're already 90% of the way treated because of the perception and the belief of the advertising, but also some verbal pictures have already been painted in their mind, which if they've attached their mind around, the seed will have grown, related to whatever the problem is. But I'll cover that in more depth later, because that's part of the marketing strategy. So when they come, they are 90% of the way to being sorted anyway. It's not, quite frankly, probably more like 99.9%, based on what I was saying yesterday. Rapport. Well, rapport, as I said yesterday, why waste time? Do give them a cup of tea to look like a nice man, but that's only to get them to answer the very simple questionnaire. As soon as the questionnaire is filled in, they can stop drinking the tea and we get down to business. That pen lid doesn't like me. Bugger it, there we go. Right, next. You want to make sure the belief's 100%, which it should be anyway, because they've already paid the cash, they've seen your advertising, they've had the advanced audio tape, the session's practically been done before they get there without you having any aggro. That comes down to your office, the way you look, like what I said yesterday about having the shelf with all the serious looking psychology books on. It's kind of perception. You just go to county bookstores, they've got loads of cracking psychology books there, between £2 to £7. You can fill a bookshelf like 20, 30 quid. Never need to read the buggers. They'll look good on the wall. It goes with the perception of the diplomas. Okay, ask client, questionnaire, and get the signed release. Well, that is being done whilst they're getting the tea. Because that way you're not wasting any of your valuable time, are you? The questionnaire, which is what we're going to skip to, and then we'll come back to the order, is very simply for two reasons. Firstly, so that you have got a signed release saying they accept full responsibility for having that session. I've never bothered purchasing insurance for hypnotherapy in my life. I've advised everyone I've taught to buy it and given them the company, and that company accepts my training diplomas to accept them for insurance. I've never had professional indemnity or public liability insurance. It is not necessary if you've got a signed release from them stating before the session they take full responsibility entirely at their own risk, which therefore means it has to bear in their handwriting their full name, address, telephone and email, and you've already kind of got their address because you sent them stuff out. If they've got an email, the only reason we put that on is because then we've got it for future marketing purposes. Any new products that we release, we can spam them emails out, and a certain number of people will end up buying stuff and you get a load more cash for very little effort. Telephone number and address are also important on the questionnaire, because then when you send press releases to TV companies saying that, you know, you've helped this person with this problem in their life, and they want you to take somebody on that programme, you've got two choices. You either pay a stooge, as a lot of people do when television's involved, or you can ring up one of your genuine clients and say, do you want to be on TV? They're going to give you a few £100 as well. You're going to get your money back. What it costs for the session, isn't that brilliant? You'll change your life around without it costing you nothing. They become your television stars that promote your therapy business. That's why that's the date of birth. Purely and simply because off the date of birth you can work out how old they currently are. That way you don't have to directly ask them how old they are, so you're not going to offend anybody. So that if you're doing things like later on, where we get to the question, what was the best time in your life? If they say it was when, I don't know, if they say a year instead of say 1975, off the date of birth, you can immediately work out how old they were. So when you come to refer to that time in their life that they said was really the best, you can say, remember that time when you were this age old, But you need to know exactly what age they were at the time they were referring to, so that you don't have any chance of them thinking of some time that wasn't good in their life. What's your problem as they define it? Whatever they say their problem is, whatever words they use, that is the problem they've got. A lot of approaches would say, well, no, there could be underlying cause, it could be this, it could be that. At the end of the day, if they believe their problem is X, Y, Z, then X, Y, Z is their problem. And that is what they want you to be treating. Again, people will say, well, in that case, it's only ethical if you do, analysis, find the root cause of the problem. So they come to, you find the cause of the symptoms, root cause, remove it, the symptoms disappear.
If the effect is a cause?
Then all that, yeah, all the Neil French stuff. But quite frankly, number one, the reason why people in America make shitloads of money as therapists is because they leave it so the client goes away happy, having what they class as being their problem solved. So they go away happy about the therapist, value for money they feel they've had, they go away as a walking advert. But hey, that's why they've all got personal therapists, because they're regularly having problems, because you don't sort them all out. Christ, one client could be bringing you money regularly for the rest of your life. That's how all the American therapists make millions. That's why they make far more than all the British hypnotherapists.
Is that why their kids are all a bit, people who go for tons and tons of therapy year in, year out, their kids are also now becoming screwed up? It doesn't...
Yeah, more than likely, but hey, great, new set of customers, new generation.
Let me tell you something. This is in the New York Times, all right? The New York Times, all right? There was a guy who'd been in psychotherapy for 3 years, spent $65,000 and talked himself to death being cured. He said he's cured. Talked himself to death therapist and he said nothing the whole 3 years. Nothing.
Value. Yeah.
See, I would be more comfortable. I would be more comfortable knowing that I was going to see a therapist who their only intention was that they get rid of me. Yeah, get rid of me.
As far as the clients perceive it, which is what we'll cover in the last session about advertising, they will come with that perception. Because that is what makes them make the buying decision. And then they will go away feeling happy that you have sorted their problem. So they come with the perception you're going to sort it, end the subject, and then, in whatever way, and then that they're happy because it has been sorted. But the beauty of it is, they will come back to you because they felt good, they felt positive about the buying decision when they made it. You gave them what they wanted, instead of selling them something they didn't want. You provided them with what they wanted, they feel good about you, they go away as a walking advert. Anytime there's a problem in their life, the first person they'll ring is you and they'll be more than happy to part with cash because they felt really good about you.
Jonathan, doctors do that. You're not doing anything wrong. Medical doctors do that. They don't, you go to a doctor, they don't cure one thing at a time.
Yeah, here's the pills, go away, you're going to feel so much better, bedside manner, placebo suggestion, and if for some reason it hasn't improved in a week's time, come back and see me again.
That's very subjective to say you're not doing anything wrong. That's your opinion. That's a subjective thing to say you're not doing anything wrong, grabbing money off people. We have clients flying at us all the time. We do things for free, we give out in the world, and it constantly flows back. We don't need to be a con-eyed.
You talking to Jonathan, talking to me? Because I'm from New York. That's the way it is in New York.
Do you want to be a millionaire?
No, do you want to earn out?
Do you want to earn shitloads of money?
She does. She does.
I do. I make £1,000
She can't
a
stop
day.
it.
Whoa! A practice builder's person, let me guess. But, well, I'm telling you what it is. Great, I'm glad that you are one of the few practice builders people who hasn't gone bust. I'm really glad about that, because the majority have gone belly up arsehole.
They were going to go anyway. Whatever they went into.
At the end of the day, so if you're happy in your life, your comfort zone is £1,000 a day. I'm happy.
Thank you. Don't shout down for 1 minute. I'm not talking about money. You're saying, you will earn shitloads of money on that.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you, I'm not even interested in money. Money flows at me. I'm confident. I'm happy. I don't care about money.
Well, do it all entirely for free. Live in a commune then. Don't take any money off them at all if you're not bothered about the money. I thought you were running a business. We're all business people.
That gentleman there says to you, you're not doing anything wrong, doctors do it.
No.
I'm sorry, but what I will say is, that is his opinion, your opinion. My opinion is, you are doing something.
Well, you're entitled to that opinion. And everyone's an expert on their own opinion.
You don't have to jump into you practice, blah, blah, blah. Forget it, I'm not going to fight with you. I've listened to you. You are amazing at times at what you do. And I'm taking that away. Okay, that's fine. A lot of what you do, I think, is absolutely dreadful, but that's fine as well.
Because you've got ethical issues with it, and that's fine. You're entitled to that
I'm
opinion.
sat quietly today, I've been a really good girl. I don't want my money back because you need my money probably more than I need my money.
Well, you know,
I am happy today. This
12.5 grand a day this weekend, not bad.
But that's great, you're fine. There's enough money in the world for all of us. All I'm saying to you is that I have learned things, and one of the things I've learned is how good and happy and comfortable in my life. But I've sat quietly, but I can't sit quietly when that man announces to us all that you're doing nothing wrong to do it. Because that's just his opinion. So all I'm saying is,
Fair enough,
you have
yeah.
an opinion, and I completely accept that. But please don't think that I should have an opinion. 'cause
No, anything at all that I've said from yesterday morning, you don't have to accept any of it. You don't have to accept any of what I have said, and you don't have to agree with any of it, and you can, as you said, take away some of the stuff
Then you should
and make use of it. But,
and shout at people who don't agree.
yeah, but hey, you know,
That's my style.
that's my style. That's what you paid to come and see, and it said, I will do your heading on that sales letter, and I certainly have done. So, you know, yeah, Barry.
Could I just talk to you about my opinion? My opinion is that I've worked and trained lots of people in hypnosis hypnotherapy, and a whole lot of clients that have been to the hypnotherapists, and the majority of hypnotherapists do not want to see a client once. They do their utmost to get them through the door, whether you like it or not. That's just my opinion.
It's down to value of money.
Well, speaking as a hypnotherapist, I pride myself in getting as many clients as possible and treating them in one session.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because they will go away and they will sell me to all their friends without me having to pay out a lot of money into the newspapers and other sorts of things.
Which is what I said, but then, yeah, no, I did. You treat them in one session, get rid of them, take the cash.
Get somebody dependent on me and keep coming back. Give me all
It's an automatic action. If you treat them in one session, however many, you know, double binds you put in to check for symptom substitution and all that, there are still going to be clients, if you've done them in one session and not got to the cause of the problem and done analysis, that will end up manifesting it somewhere else in their life. And then they will come back to you because they feel really good about you, because when they had a problem last time round.
Different motivators, because you know your focus seems to be on money, and I don't believe this it seems to be excluding everything else. I don't actually believe that, even though that's what you're saying. Whereas we're saying that bring on the money. That's fantastic, and as much as possible, it seems that we charge more than you do. But we actually care that it helps them well.
That's nice.
Well, yeah, that's nice for you. We'll agree to differ. Let's move on. We've only got 15 minutes till break time. We'll have questions and answers later, yeah, okay? We've only got 15 minutes till break, and then we've got all the marketing stuff to cover, so let's move forward, because there's so much bloody stuff. Next question on the questionnaire is, how long have you had the problem? Obviously, so you can refer to this problem, fact that, you know, this issue in your life that started 7 years, so it's relevant, it makes it sound more personal to them. That's if you're going to bother actually, once you've got them in the so-called trance, actually talking to them all the way through. If they snore off to sleep, as most of them will if you do it the way I say later, then you won't need to bother about all this. But obviously you need it there ready, just in case for those people that don't end up going so that they can actually hear you doing something. How do you feel it started? Because however they feel it started is the easiest way, even if it's not true, to mention in the session. What do you feel I need to do today to permanently solve this problem for you? session, they're being permanently. Whatever they say, if they say hit me with a wet stick, if they say I want you to make me think of X, Y, Z, whatever their answer is somewhere, build that in to your session. There's a lot of ad-libbing comes in with CMT. What outcome do you wish to achieve today? Now that sounds right, a stupid question to ask, given that you've already asked them, what do you feel I need to do today to permanently solve this problem? But sometimes their perception of what the outcome is different from actually having solved the problem, because the problem might be smoking, which they want permanently to be a non-smoker, but the outcome they want to achieve is to have shitloads more money in the bank and be able to go on these foreign holidays. Or it could be that, you know, they just want to impress the wife, some woman who's said, I'll never get involved with somebody who's a smoker, but whatever their motivating factor is, could technically be slightly different than the problem they want to solve. So if you know them both, you can build them both into the session. What was the best experience of your life? Yes, very, very briefly, I mean very briefly. Or was it a graduation, was it a birthday, what? Do you want a key word to refer to? That's all. You don't want details, it wastes valuable time. And when you mention that key word anyway, they'll conjure up the mental image of the full scenario themselves without you needing to know all the details. What was the worst and painful event in your life today? The one that made you feel really terrible and horrible? Again, key word, key phrase, something short. So when you come to reconnecting the pain and pleasure, you can anchor it, if you want to use that term, between these two genuine experiences that have happened in the life, rather than just referring to some imaginary make-believe, imagine this scenario one. Who's the most important person on earth? You love them, whether it be family or relationships level, in the world to you. A lot of people actually will turn around and say, me, meaning themselves. You say, no. I mean, other than yourself, who's the most important person you love in the world to you? So whoever they say, write it down. Because when you come to the pain and pleasure, especially with things like smoking, but you can put it in a different context, you can get them visualising, having to tell the person they love most they're going to be dead in 3 months because they've got cancer and they're going to be dead very shortly. Really painful image. So you need to know who the person is, the key name conjures that up, so then you can anchor then, well, okay, future pacing. Now imagine the fact that there's a confident, happy, healthy, relaxed, non-smoker. Just imagine now actually going up to that person 10 years from now and going and doing all the things you love doing, enjoying together, and notice how fit and healthy you are and how good you feel because you gave up smoking. So you again, I suppose, you know, anchoring there. Are you on any medication? Because you're going to use this as a signed disclaimer to cover yourself, if you so desire. I'm not suggesting, you know, carry on getting insurance, please do. Are you on any medication? By asking them that, if there's anything, then you get a copy of PIMS. Again, county bookstores selling nice and cheap so that you can check what the effects are after they've gone. If there's any reason or doubt in your mind, based on what it says in the book, that the medication they're on could, you know, cause any problems, send a letter to the doctor, which we'll cover later anyway, because you're going to be doing that at the end of the session anyway, sending a letter to their doctor.
With that, you might be breaking the confidentiality laws, actually, because they've come to you in confidentiality, and they might not want you to contact their doctor, so you may feel foul of that.
Well, they get told in the advertising literature, we'll cover that later, that the details will, their doctor, I will not treat people unless their doctor is informed and I can contact them. And if they're not happy with that, then they don't come. And because I make it seem like an important part of it, then because it's important, it's all back to being ritualistic. And we'll cover that in the marketing side after, because by sending a letter to everyone's doctor afterwards and informing them they just become a non-smoker with you or whatever it is, the doctor's constantly getting these bloody letters. He'll update it on his computers when he's seen his patient next and ask them, well, I believe you've been to a hypnotist, complete mind therapist or whatever, and you've stopped smoking. Is that true? Have you stopped now? All right, I need to amend my records then, don't I? So your name keeps coming up in that doctor's mind. And there's so many doctors in one particular area, okay? So a lot of your clients that come from one geographic area will be split between just a handful of doctors. So the doctor's going to be getting almost subliminal advertising because it's going to have a number of patients over a period of time.
Yeah,
and after a while...
You you're okay, but if you haven't got that...
Yeah, but they're talking, no, you tell them up front
Yeah.
that they're going to have to sign this before you'll treat them, hence it's done before the session. And that way the doctors, at the end of the day, as much as we get pissed off getting these letters, keep getting them. In the end, they won't be able to ignore the fact that a large number of their patients have been held by you. And sooner or later, that subliminal brainwashing will win over some of, not all of, some of the fuddy-duddy doctors who are dead against, hypnotherapists, and then you will actually, from some, not all, start getting doctor referrals because you've used subliminal target marketing.
Yeah.
Is there a history of this problem in the family? That basically is not relevant whatsoever, but it sounds almost clinical and medical asking them something like that, so you're building up the belief even more. Have you tried any other treatments before? What was it? Okay, well don't worry. Whatever they say, your answer always is, oh that's fine, as long as that's all it was, because that's great. So you tried that and it didn't work, well that's fine. Finally you found the right person, the right treatment. Whatever the answer always is, whatever they said they tried before, even if they said they've been to another hypnotherapist before. You don't actually badmouth the hypnotherapist, but you say, oh who was it? Oh that's great. Yeah, they use a different approach to me. That's the phrase. So you're not slagging them off, because slagging the person off actually causes a negative in your client. It's almost saying, well, you shouldn't have gone to that person, he was crap. But if you say, well, they use a different approach to me, and with this particular area, doesn't matter what the area is, with this particular area, I've found that a lot of people have said my approach works better for this particular type of problem. So you're not bad-mouthing anyone, and you're getting that context where the belief's there. Any questions before we begin the session, which is the point when, if you're going to get you not to say, no, you're going to make me like Paul McKenna, you say, look, do you want me to make you run around like a chicken? No, right, well then let's stop wasting time and get on with the session now. That's as much as you need to do on telling them the so-called difference between stage and therapy. That's your questionnaire, the answers of which then can all be used as part of the session, assuming that you're unlucky enough to end up getting a client in there who, when you've done your boring induction, hasn't gone to sleep. Because doing the induction this way, most of them I find go to sleep and I don't have to say a word anyway. But because I've done the questionnaire beforehand, when they are woken up and think, oh, I'm out of it, I must have been hypnotised, they will think, well, he took all those questions for a reason, a ritual, which makes it important. So they will assume they have been used for a reason, which makes it all that attaching value, so this must have done something, which they believe because they woke up and they're like, ooh, mega time distortion, where am I? Right, jumping through to, we've got another 5 minutes. The suggestibility test I use is do follow the thumb test. Because basically it always works every time without fail. To a greater or lesser degree. And you anchor to that, like I said yesterday, which means that something you thought once would be so difficult has become so ridiculously easy. Which means that, in a few moments' time, when we get down to the real change work today, we're definitely going to be able to do this. Yeah, you're a really good subject for this form of treatment. Ego strengthening, future pacing. Then do very quickly, and this, it sounds like a hell of a long list, but all this, even if you did have to go through it talking to them, takes a maximum 35-40 minutes. You do the guaranteed locked hands, which is going to work. Because they're going to be cooperative anyway, but anyway, it's a physical trick, but they're going to be cooperative on top of that, because they've just paid you a shitload of money. You then do the hands down over the eyes, induction, which we covered earlier. The hands end up at a point where they've got to close their eyes anyway, to where you very quickly have got them believing there must be in some kind of trance, or whatever they want to call it, because their eyes are closed. And you say, eyes remain tightly closed at all times. You just tell them, count backwards from 300 in your mind's eye. Again, this is all very quick. Now your eyes are closed, keep them tightly closed at all times. Start counting backwards from 300 in your mind's eye. Don't say it out loud, just in your mind's eye. And keep doing that, whatever I am saying. So they're fixated on counting backwards and say, if you lose the point you're counting at, start over at 300 again and keep counting backwards. Then when you carry on talking to them, and doing that in the mind's eye, trying to concentrate on that, and then they're bloody also hearing you say stuff. They'll keep losing the point where they're at. Most of them will. So they have to start again. Sooner or later it becomes so confusing because it's like the two-voice principle, their own voice in their own mind, and the voice on the, you know, like the voice on the tape voice through the mic. It's a similar kind of thing. It's brain overload. Oh, this is, oh, I can't be doing with this. Because they expect and perceive that you're going to do some kind of deep, you tell them staircase, step down to one, but dead quick. I'm not on about, you know, really 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, deeper and deeper. The deeper you go, the better you'll feel. Really rapid. At the bottom of it, which sounds very Almond induction-ish, I would say to them, in front of you is a lovely, warm, comfortable bed. Bed being a suggestion of genuine, I'll say you'd like nothing more now than really just to go to sleep, and you don't know if you can hear my voice loudly or quietly as you continue counting back in your mind. We'll probably have to start over counting again. Which is good because it's even more confusion and disorientation. So I want you to imagine getting into the bed, lying down, getting comfortable and warm, really feeling safe. Always put the key word safe in there because you never know if somebody's, you know, potentially at some point had some kind of sexual incident occur. I know they don't always happen in bed, but if you use the word safe, then you're definitely getting them to conjure up a mental image, a seed that is pleasurable, not in any way painful. And now we should start dreaming if my voice becomes but a distant sound. And you say, if my voice becomes but a distant sound, it's a sign and a signal to ignore me completely. Just relax, continue breathing deeply. And if you want to go to sleep for real, that's fine, because everything I say will still be heard by you. You're giving them permission to go to sleep for real, and you've already gotten to the point where they believe that they're hypnotised, so fuck it. I've got brain overload, my brain's done in, what can I do? You've got the dimly lit room anyway, lamp on the table, the radiators are switched up higher than they normally are, so it's incredibly warm in your consulting room. If you want to go to the extreme, as we recommend in the printed materials, you've got some very nice aromatherapy oils burning that bring out relaxation. Basically, you've got a scenario where anyone who closed their eyes and was talked to for that length of time here, which should take no more than, in total, no more than about 8 minutes, will be bored shitless and already halfway asleep. And a hell of a lot of people do end up asleep and start snoring. And when they do, that's when you don't even need to bother with any of the rest of the session. You can do what you like. Wake them up at the end, but then it's a real, come on, wake up, wake up. Look at the time. Oh, bloody hell. And you can even move your clock forward about 5 or 10 minutes when you do. If you want to do the same on the watch, so when they look at it, they think, bloody hell. Then you give them the audio tape, which they've got to listen to once every other day for 28 days. And a post-treatment like info pack, which is nothing more than an advertising flyer, really, encouraging them to tell all the family and friends that you're wonderful and they should come and see you, which at the bottom of which in small print says, obviously, listen to your tape once every 28 days, but then in even smaller print under that, it says, at least once a week, listen to it as you're going to sleep at night. That gives you a fail-safe then if anyone does occasionally ring, although 99.9% of the people at the point they paid the money are already sorted. By this point when they go snoring, you wake them up and they think, yeah, I've been in a real trance. 100% sorted, but the odd, complete and utter odd one out that rings you, oh, your problem started again. I can see what's happened here. Did you listen to the tape? Yeah, oh, well, and you're fine 99% of the time. But they haven't listened to it once every other day for 28 days, so the blame's on them, so you can therefore justify charging them all over again for a brand new session at full rate. But what you do turn around and say is, obviously I won't need to give you a tape this time, just make sure you listen to the one you've already got, so I'll knock you a little tiny bit off, because I don't need to give you one of the tapes, do I? So they feel like you give them a discount. Now, if they turn around and say, yeah, I did listen to it once every 28 days, you say, well, I can see what's happened here. And say, what? Say, when did you listen to it? Always ask them that first, because then they'll go, oh, well, it'll be after work, it'll be then. Once they've said that, so they can't come back and just be awkward, you say, well, You didn't follow the instructions right, did you? It's got to be at least once a week. And no more than twice a week when you listen to it at night time. You've always got to get out clause. You're never in the wrong, they always are. And that way you can always take more money off them. Point one. And point two, that very rarely happens anyway, because by the time they've booked a session, they believe it's going to work, so it will work. By the time they pay, they've attached value to it, otherwise they wouldn't have parted with the cash. By the time you've got them in snoring land and Malton, they think they've been in a genuine type of trance. Then they've got the tape, which is like a ritual. This is important for a reason. If they ain't sorted then, they ain't going to be sorted. It's my opinion. However, what we'll cover briefly after the coffee break, before we go on to marketing strategies, is what you would do in the very rare occasion that with the dimly lit room with the curtains closed, with the lamp pointed at the wall so it's very, very dim, with the aromatherapy oils burning, with the relaxation music, radiator switched up high so the red hot, all the things that send people to sleep normally. The odd one that doesn't end up in snoring land. And it's quite simple because people can talk to you if they're in what they think is a trance. So if you get to one of the points like ego strengthening and you say, I should relax there, bullshit waffle, whatever, is everything fine in your mind? They don't respond. If they're snoring, you know, but not everyone snores. If they don't respond, after about 5 or 6 times of being asked, to the point of being asked in the bloody ear, then leave them be and wake them up after a while. But we'll have to cover what to do if they do respond, because then you've got to fill the rest of the time that they're with you so they feel they've actually had a full 40-minute therapy session and therefore got the value for money. But we'll do that straight after the coffee break before we finish up with our marketing strategies, what you would actually do in the rare event. So 4:30 back here, everybody, prompt. Thank you.